had a Paulo, you had a quick question for Keith there.
Yes. So, a lot of you guys probably don't know, but Keith has is married to a Pakistani wife. Um, One thing that a lot of Americans don't know, and I know this, I've met quite a few, um, and this anecdotally, uh, but no, not a lot of people know about brown culture as much as they should.
Mm,
There's a lot of
mhm.
brown people in the country, and when I do say brown, it's that region,
Tall Latins.
Middle Asia, yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't say the Middle East because I don't think they're considered brown.
No,
Um,
they're separate,
and so yeah,
as far as I
Keith, like
know, I believe.
it's rare to have a Pakistani wife, but it's even more rare to have a black man marry a Pakistani wife. And
Yeah.
not me not trying to be like, colors, right?
Not that
I'm
there's
just saying
anything
like
wrong with
that's
that.
yeah, there's just it's perfectly fine, and it's just wild to me. So what it's like, what's the culture shock for you,
And dual religion. So not that it
Oh, that's
truly matters.
true.
Yeah.
But you're
That's
not
true.
religious.
I'm not religious, but I am Christian, she's Muslim.
Hmm.
But neither one of us are exactly religious.
I dated a Muslim girl.
Hmm.
She was fine. My dad said, "That's what one fine girl you're dating." I was like, "I know."
Hmm.
Yeah, but then
Well,
she was
That's
in an arranged marriage, so we had to break up.
yeah, there's that too.
people because nobody. So I personally, um back when I was younger, before I got married and all that, before when I was single and ready to mingle, I preferred brown girls because like the untapped population, the most one of the most
Look at
beautiful
Keith's
girls I
face.
have ever
Sounds
seen.
so weird.
Like, where are
Well,
you
that's
going
big.
with this?
Like I would talk to some folks, and I'm not trying to objectify, obviously, like a specific race or anything. I'm just trying to joke around. If you look at it, when I ask my friends, right, it's like, hey, like, have you dated a Bengali girl before, or like, have you considered trying to get with an Afghanistan, guy? Because I know pretty diverse folks, and I try to like wingman some people. And I was pretty bad, but trust, I used to be really really good. And it's so interesting to me, just learning about like how that works out. And it's a first to me, to have a friend like you marrying someone who's Pakistan. So I wanted to know what your experience is like. Like, what's the culture shock? What's the barriers and all that?
Uh, I don't. So I guess like one of the things for me is like just food. Every time I go over
Yes.
to not the taste of food, more or less. I mean that a lot of the food is good. Um, it's when we go to visit her family, there's it's always like they're trying to serve you food. And like even if I'm just like stopping by, it's like, hey, do you want tea? Do you want this? Like, I'm okay, I'm good. No, thank you. But then it's like more questions. It's like, do you want this? It's like
Noom
what
calls that a food pusher, I think.
I don't
Uh,
know.
yeah.
Every time I'm over there, even when I'm just like dropping something off or picking something up, her mother or her sister-in-law is always asking me like, "Do you want tea?" And I'm like, "I'm just here for like 5 minutes just to pick something up. I don't not really here to sit down and enjoy a cup of tea right now." Or like they're always asking if I want something. So sometimes it's like the push of food, even though it's like, no, thank I've got something. It's to the point where sometimes I feel bad now, like turning them down because I feel like I do it more most of the time more than I actually accept it. Um
Uh-huh. They're like, he doesn't like our food.
it's
Well,
not
I I think it's a very I'm gonna sound a little bit racy here, but it's a very Asian thing to like push food like that because
mm,
food in Asia in general represents bounty and wealth, right? And
mhm.
and if you have visitors and you're always offering food, you're kind of showing your wealth at the same time showing like, how do you say this, like hearth, like being able to welcome strangers with.
I think that's a lot of people of culture, people of color culture is a food thing. Like Latin
Mhm.
culture is like, here, eat this, and
But not every time you visit. Not
I don't know
like
about every time, but yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's that to me, at least from my experience, that's always been with like the Asian variety. Like people always offer me food when I visit their place, even though like Keith said, like I'm just here to talk to your son or daughter for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not here to stick around for 30, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So like, because sometimes it'll just be me. Like I'll just drop by the house because my wife has asked me to pick something up or I need to drop something off to them. And it's like, yeah, it's always they're asking if I want something or if I want tea. And it's like, I'm just standing. I'm just sitting here just ready to, head back to the car. I'm not used to that. I'm used to just getting like doing what I was there for. And then, okay. Like me, I'll say pleasantries, but not a sit down for it,
You're not
so
a social butterfly.
No.
Well, I mean, it's hard.
You're a social mosquito.
No, it's not. I mean, I can talk to a lot of people just
you land
on
and
other things, but it's just
they know that you're there.
Take what you can. Take what you can, and you fly buzz off.
Well, it's like
I'm
talking to like when talking to her mother. Her mother doesn't speak a lot of English. She knows a few words here and there, so it's like she's speaking some English words, and I'm trying to like. She sometimes even talks to me in Urdu, and I'm like trying to.
Is she talking directly and only to you in her language?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes she'll ask me questions and like in Urdu,
and you're just sitting there like.
Sometimes I'm looking for like my wife or
somebody,
her brother, somebody that can translate for me. Other times I can somewhat understand what she's saying here and there. I've also, of course, had over the years have picked up some words. But yeah, there's other times it's like I'm just like I don't know what she's saying.
Well, between a multicultural couple, whether married or dating, the most obvious barrier is definitely language. That especially if the individual is very attuned to their culture, they probably know the language, they probably know a lot about it. Another barrier is typically like values, right? Like with me and my wife, we're also multicultural. One of the things that I tried to explain to her, which is like a very confusing concept for most Americans, is parental rights to like everything that children has. So for example, my mom and my dad, they're great. I love my mom and my dad, but they think what I have is what they have, right? Like
that's a kid or now?
Now, even today. I mean, that's just the culture. It's like,
no offense, I've never liked that mindset, but go ahead.
No one does. Like no one. To me, it's normal. Like that makes sense to me. That's what I grew up. Like that's.
So for me, that was how I grew up. But once I left the house, what was under my parents' roof, that was theirs. Whether it was in my room or my sister's room, it was theirs. It was my parents because they bought it. It was under their roof. Even if we bought it, it's under their roof. But once we moved out, that agreement ended. But yours extends into adulthood.
Yes, yeah. And I'm not sure if your wife your parents are in a similar way, or do you have other like values that you kind of just have that barrier between?
I think it'd probably be like, somewhat social, like family wise. That there's more of a link to family there than it is for the way I grew up. So sometimes it's like the type of like family events. There's like feels like there's always something going on, whether it's a birthday or Eid or like some other get together gathering. It's like, didn't we just go? Did we just see?
But you just don't like gathering. You just like staying at home. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's what he said. Like, I mean, I could talk, but I can talk.
But you would prefer to sit at home.
I would prefer
on your computer or in. Yeah.
Are you saying your wife's family parties all the time, and you're like, oh my god?
I'm not saying they party all the time, but there's just something.
There's just
no, I'm not saying they party all the time, but there's just it feels like there's always something going on that we have to
So it's a
do
social
go-
event or
yeah,
or
and it might not be, but it might not be that often, but it just sometimes feels like every time I look around, it's like, oh, we need to go over because they're having this or like they're doing that, or let's go over it. Like, oh, it's like I just want to be home.
You should talk to my wife. There's 2 months in the year where every single week there's a party in my family. Whether that's a birthday, a Filipino event, or something to cause to celebrate. Me and my family party at least 30 times a year. At least.
Well, let's pick this up
Oh yeah.
in the next episode. So we will finish this up later.